all the people that worked in the real hot mines, the Payday, the Happy Jack, the My Vita, they're all dead. It killed them all quick because they were in a lot more radon.
The property called radioactivity means that individual atoms decay at a certain rate and emit energy in the process. Each decay event results in a breakdown of the original atom into an atom of a different element and is accompanied by a characteristic release of energy. Beginning with its change to thorium-234, each atom of uranium is transformed in steps through 13 elements before becoming a stable atom of lead. One element in this uranium decay series is a gas called radon. Thus, radon is being gradually formed in all uranium-bearing rock. Being a gas, radon can seep into the mine air from rock surfaces and cracks exposed by mine openings. Normal radioactive decay of radon then continues in the mine atmosphere.
Up the country here a ways, when I very first started mining, when I just got out of high school, and I bought an old shuttle car and an old loader for $3,000 for both of them, and a little blower, a little fan, because you know it has vent holes. I showed him some vent holes, you know, where you pump the air down from the top. Or you can run it in through bags through here, but anyway. So so me and Kelly were, I mean, one of my cousins were mining up here and was way back in there in a place where his dad had worked before. And anyway, we didn't know what was doing that good. We were just out of high school, and I mean, we knew what it was doing, but we didn't know how to follow the ore that good. So we were following a big trash pile, and his dad came down, and his mom, she came with him. And that little fan we had was a sorry little fan. This back before the inspectors got too bad. It's the only fan we had in the whole mine was back in a half a mile. Our working, that was probably 20 or 30 or 40. But his dad came in. I remember what he said. He said, I could fart better and it'd smell better and put more air out than that fan. That's what he told us. And so we got a new one.
The standard method of measuring concentrations of airborne radioactivity is by filtering the radon daughters from a specific volume of air and counting the decay events on the filter paper with a detection device. The result is converted to working levels. One working level is defined as any combination of short-lived radon daughters in 1 liter of air that will result in the ultimate emission of approximately 130 billion electron volts of alpha energy.
When I mined in the 70s, if you was under 10 working levels, Henry Maurer was the inspector, you were good. But we worked in mines where his machine only went to 20 working levels. And it was, I mean, this is 40 years ago, so I'm sure it's obsolete. But they just had a tube on it and they just put a filter in and it tests the air. Maybe they still do it the same way, an air tester.
I think that's exactly the same way.
Yeah, and so they'd test the air, and sometimes it'd go right off the scale at 20 working levels. And it'd say, you guys, and I'd say, we're about to break through and get a wind tunnel, Henry, so he'd give us 2 weeks.
Although medical findings indicate that the incidence of lung cancer among uranium miners increases greatly above 1,000 working level months, there are enough recorded cases at less than 1,000 working level months to indicate that some risk also exists at lower exposures. The highest incidence of lung cancer has been observed among uranium miners who are believed to have worked in concentrations above 10 working levels for 10 or more years.
My grandpa, my uncles, they choked to death. I watched my dad choke to death. Yes. That's what happens when you just run out of air. My dad's lungs at the end, Dr. Red showed him the x-ray to me, and he said, pretend like these lungs are nylon socks. And he says, now pretend like you cut them off about 4 inches from the top and then frayed them. That's what his lungs looked like. One of them was 78% gone. The radon's what gets you, right? And the sand. If nowadays they make us water the trails down, they make us keep the working levels down under one working, under a half now. Me and my brother always wore them little dust flows. They're like these. They're little. They were easy. They weren't that hard to. They're just for particulates, so they're not carbon filters or nothing. But the thing that saves you is the dust, because that's what killed all my dad and all his brothers. I mean, the radon, but the dust is what holds it in there. So the dust in your lungs never comes out. This is what the doctors have told them all and stuff. And so when you breathe, it goes up and down. It scars the lungs. So pulmonary fibrosis is just scarring of the lungs. That's what it is. And I have it pretty bad around the edges. It's starting to get bad, but most all of them got it about 60 years old, 65. And a lot of them died in the 60s that worked in the hot mines. All my uncles that worked a long time in them died in their 60s. So it's a crazy deal. But respirators, we did wear respirators, me and my little brother. And we even got some good ones from the mill down here that had charcoal filters in them later on. But we didn't wear ear protection respirators so much in the very beginning, especially ear protection. Then the inspector started making us wear it, but I'm deaf right now. I read your lips. If you've noticed, most of the times I have to look at you when I'm talking because I don't hear good. But I can tell my wife that anyway. She tells me to do something. But we'd go down, and when we'd load around and get ready to shoot it, we'd light it, and we'd go stand behind these pillars you'll see down here, and we'd watch the shots go off from like 50 feet away. And you imagine how loud that is, just blow your eardrums right out. And when you're down there, when them shots go off, you think they're just explosions, but it's a ball of fire. I mean, it's a fireball. But imagine that. Imagine a whole case of dynamite going off 20 different times because you're in 20 different holes, but yeah, every day. So imagine shooting this rock. I mean, like that great big crack right there. It probably goes clear to the surface, but it's tied in. I mean, it's tied in. This is pretty safe. I mean, there's a little bit could fall, and who knows, I guess the whole thing could fall. I can't think of a better way for me to die. You know what I'm saying? To be mining a big vein of high grade and get caved in on. I just tell them to just leave me right there and bury me right there, and that'd be good.